So you may remember late last year, I covered a story on the channel talking about how Microsoft was going to be releasing a brand new version of the Xbox One in early 2019. Well, it looks like those rumors are back in the news, and it looks like, yes, indeed, Microsoft may be releasing a new version of the current Xbox One line of systems. Now, this rumor is brought to you by the good folks at Windows Central. The people at Windows Central are saying that this new Xbox One console is going to be releasing in May, so it's only 2 months out from the time I'm recording this video. So you can see it's just right around the corner. Now, what are we talking about when we're talking about a brand new version of the current Xbox One system? Now, we're not talking about anything too crazy when it comes to the actual system itself. So we're not talking about brand new features. We're not talking about more power and things like that. What we're actually talking about here, we're actually talking about a diskless Xbox or a digital-only Xbox. So when you buy this brand new Xbox that's supposedly coming out on the market, it's going to be digital distribution only. And actually, fun fact, this is not the first time we're getting a console that's going to be digital only. You guys may remember, I think back in 2009 or 2010 when the PSP was relevant, Sony actually released a digital-only PSP called the PSP Go, and that thing didn't do good at all. But there was a number of factors why that thing didn't do good at all. I don't think a lot of people were willing to shell out the money for the PSP Go because, well, it didn't play UMD discs, and on top of that, I don't think a lot of people's internets were just capable of actually using the PSP Go, so people couldn't download stuff as conveniently as they could today because internets weren't as good as they are today. They're still not amazing for some people, but they're definitely way better than they were years ago, and on top of that, a lot of people already owned a PSP, so if you release a diskless, if you release a digital-only version of the current platform you currently have on the market, it's going to be a tough sell to people when they've already invested in this system. So it's like, what's the point of going from a system that can play all your current games physically and then going to a system that can't play your games physically? It's a very hard area. And on top of that, one thing the Sony didn't do well with the PSP is the fact that if you owned a lot of physical media for the original PSP or the PSP 2000, PSP 3000 models of that system, you couldn't get them transferred over to digital. So it's pretty much like you buy the PSP Go and then you have to re-download, you have to rebuy everything you own second time. And a lot of people just weren't having that when they already invested so much money into their current collection of PSP games. Apparently, with this new Xbox One diskless version that Microsoft is going to be releasing to the public, apparently they said in certain markets and and anyone who's participating in this plan, supposedly you can turn your current Xbox One disc-based games into digital copies if you have those. So it'll make it a seamless transfer over to this Xbox that's going to have no disc drive, so you can be able to play your current games if you already invested a lot of money in it. So at least Microsoft is going to be taking the right steps and making sure that if people want this discless Xbox, they can transfer over all their current games onto this platform. Who really knows how true that rumor is, but supposedly that's supposed to be allowed from Microsoft, and Microsoft is going to be allowing you to do something like that for people who are already existing owners of the brand new Xbox. Now, why would Microsoft want to do this when we already know the next generation of consoles are so near? We do know the next version of the Xbox is already confirmed. We also know the PS5 is in the works, so why would Microsoft want to waste a lot of money and a lot of efforts trying to make this digital-only Xbox One? Well, the reason they would want to make this Xbox One digital-only platform is to test the waters and see how many people actually want to buy a digital-only version of their platform, to see how many people want to jump on board. Because as you guys know, moving on into the future of gaming, the gaming future does not look bright for physical media. It looks like physical media is going to be on the way out. It looks like digital-only is going to be a thing, and also streaming platforms as a whole are going to be a thing. And that's, as you guys know, with the next generation of Xbox, Microsoft is really planning on it being an all-digital world. Whether we talk about digital distribution, whether we talk about their streaming service, it really really looks like Microsoft is headed in that direction. They're just trying to test the waters right now. But I don't think this is actually a great time to test the waters, because the current Xbox has already been out on the market for 4 or 5 years at this current moment. So you can see it's been around for quite some time now. So if you're trying to test the waters, a lot of people already have an Xbox right now, and they've already invested a lot of time and money into Xbox. So that when they see this Xbox, they'll be like, what's the appeal to this? It doesn't play physical media. On top of that, there's no really improvements to the gameplay. There's no really improvements to the UI or to the features that we're going to be getting on this Xbox. It's pretty much just a cut down version of the Xbox One S that we currently have on the market, so I'm not going to be buying that system. So basically what I'm saying is, if Microsoft really wants to test the waters of digital distribution, I think this is the wrong way to go about it, because so many people already own an Xbox. This is really going to be for either, this is pretty much going to be, what am I saying? This is pretty much going to be for new time comers who've never owned an Xbox. I think this may appeal to them, but then you do have to realize as well, depending on what they price this discless Xbox at, or this digital only Xbox at, it may just be more appealing to buy the Xbox One S with a Blu-ray drive already attached to it. If they would have come out with this early on in the Xbox One's life cycle, it may be much more of an accurate representation of how people would attach on to digital. But I think there's just so many Xboxes out there, this is not the time to do it. I think the time to do it would have been earlier in the Xbox life cycle, because if they're trying to see if they're trying to see the attach rate of how many people are going to be buying this system, and trying to see how many people actually love digital distribution. You guys know that the new Xbox system is going to be coming out a year to 2 years after this system is coming out, so I don't think that there is enough data going to be... I don't think that there would be enough data collected, in my opinion, that this would actually make sense, but I see why. I guess now is the time to do it, because they want to do it now on this current generation, but I don't think now is the time to do it. Now, why do I think that this this new Xbox One digital-only Xbox is going to cost, since they are going to be removing the Blu-ray component out of the current Xbox One S to make this thing much more cheaper? I can see this thing being $200. I can even see they can squeezing the price down all the way to $150 if they really wanted to, because they're not paying for a Blu-ray drive, and you know the Blu-ray drive is part of the cost in developing these Xboxes, so it is going to be a much more cheaper version of the Xbox One. Now, who should buy this discless Xbox? If you ask it, it's really going to be a really hard sell, since, like I said, a lot of people already own it. If you're a previous owner of the Xbox One, whether you have an Xbox One S or you have an Xbox One X, I don't think this product is for you. It may be more appealing to the new time comers. If you're a new time comer of the Xbox brand, this may make some sense to you, but then again, this is really going to be a hard sell as well, because even if they cut this thing down to $200 to $150, you have to realize something as well. There's also these Xbox One S's, which are pretty much dirt cheap, and the reason why I say you should go for the Xbox One S, even if this thing does come out on the market, is due to the fact that physical media for the Xbox is really cheap, and that's something I do like about physical media. You can find sales on games, and there's a lot of dirt cheap Xbox One games, but if you have this digital version only of the Xbox One, well, you ain't buying physical media. You're pretty much out of luck, and you pretty much have to pay what Microsoft has in the Xbox Live Store or the Xbox Store on your Microsoft Xbox, and that's not great news, having to pay much more for some of these games. But then again, I guess I can see why a lot of people would maybe be interested in a discless Xbox, because, well, first of all, it doesn't matter, since maybe they own a lot of digital games in the first place. Maybe if you own a lot of digital games, you may want to check this out. But then again, you're not really gaining anything from buying this Xbox, because you already have one that plays games just perfectly fine. So what's the point of buying this system? But I can see a first-time comer buying this system and then maybe getting Games Pass, because Microsoft does have the Xbox Games Pass service, and the Xbox Games Pass service, in my opinion, is a flat-out steal at $10 a month. So pretty much you get a lot of different games you can try out for $10 a month. It's pretty much the equivalent of Netflix if you, of course, use Netflix. That's what you're getting with the Xbox Games Pass. But what's cool about the Xbox Games Pass is you can actually play Xbox 360 games or Xbox One games right on your system. And on top of that, you do get to play brand new first-party titles from Microsoft on day one. Granted, there's not a lot of them, and a lot of them are questionable when they come out for the Xbox brand, but it is something cool you can get with the Xbox Games Pass if you do have the Xbox Games Pass. So it'll be very interesting to see how many people attach on to this Xbox discless version of the current gen Xbox One line of consoles. This is definitely going to be a very different situation compared to what Sony had with the PSP Go. Times are changing. A lot of people are also understanding digital sales have been going up over the recent years. If you compare the PSP Go all the way up now to the Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, you guys know there's more people with digital distribution. Also, when this thing comes out on the market, it's pretty much, if this thing starts getting very popular and they start doing this, we all know the writings on the wall for GameStop as well. It looks like GameStop days are going to be numbered because, as you guys know, the future is digital, whether we're talking about buying games digitally and owning your own copies of a game, whether we're talking about streaming services where you stream your games from the cloud and you have this box that just sits there that pretty much plays it from a remote server or a remote location or a remote PC from a company. It'll actually also be very interesting to see if GameStop's actually going to carry this system or not. GameStop may not even want anything to do with this new digital-only Xbox One system just because, well, they're not really going to gain anything from selling this. Sure, they'll get the initial sales of this console, but who knows how many people are going to buy this. And on top of that, if they're selling a console that's digital only, you guys know, then there's really no way that no one's going to come back into the store and buy physical media for games. So what's the point of GameStop actually selling this? You may be thinking to yourself, well, the reason GameStop would sell this because they do sell those Xbox Live cards. They also sell those Xbox Microsoft Point cards where you can buy things digital, but unfortunately they don't make a lot of money on those. That's actually one of the worst things in the GameStop store, that they pretty much make almost little to no profit on, so that's really not profitable for them. The biggest thing in a GameStop store is going to be the used game market, and since this won't play used games anymore, GameStop may not even want to sell this thing. It's actually going to be interesting to see who's going to sell this discless Xbox One system. Is it going to be sold in stores, or is this going to be in a Microsoft retail stores only, like the Microsoft Store? I do know they have those across America. Also, is this going to be on the Microsoft Store online only? Where are you going to be able to purchase this Xbox? Because there are also rumors floating around that this thing may only be sold on stores at the Microsoft Online Store online. You may have to order online or go into a Microsoft store around America to pick this thing up. It may not be available everywhere. So overall, this will be a very interesting system when it comes out, and it'll be very interesting to see how many people actually gravitate towards this Xbox One digital version only. And also, on another thing I did forget to mention, what are we talking about when it actually comes to the hard drive space in this thing? If this thing's going to be $150 to $200 like I'm predicting, I don't think they're going to put a very big hard drive in this thing. I think they're going to put maybe a 500 to 1 terabyte hard drive in this thing. I can see them maybe putting more close to a 500 gig hard drive into this discless Xbox, if you think about it, to keep the price down. But then again, if you're talking about an all digital Xbox that you can only download games to and maybe play Xbox Games Pass, and a lot of people may have digital downloads, 500 gigs is nothing. You guys know maybe 5, 6, 7 gigs games could easily fill up 500 gigs. But then again, I guess you do have to realize, I guess Microsoft wouldn't be too mad about that, because then again, you can run out and go ahead and buy yourself an extra hard drive. And you guys know hard drives can vary anywhere from 1 terabyte all the way up to like 4 or 5 terabyte if you really want to get crazy with your storage. Honestly, if you ask me, maybe Microsoft should bump up the price of this discless Xbox when it comes out, if it does come out. And I think what Microsoft should do with this platform, I think they should give us much more bigger hard drive space, because 500, even 1 terabyte is just not enough, and it will force people to go out and buy a hard drive for this system. But I get why Microsoft would want to lower the price of this thing. They don't want to make it as expensive as possible, taking in consideration they're not probably planning on this thing to sell very well, and most likely this system's not going to sell all that well, so they would want to keep the price down. I think that would only be the logical scenario, by making a 500 to 1 terabyte hard drive in this thing and forcing you to go out and buy a external hard drive right for this thing that plugs into your thing. But the dream would be a digital Xbox that has maybe 2 or 3 terabyte in it. If they put 2 or 3 terabyte in this discless Xbox, that would actually pretty much make people super happy. But most likely they're not going to do this, like I said, because they know this thing's not going to sell. And if they put 2 terabyte or 3 terabyte in this, and they raise the price of this thing, and it's not going to sell already it's not going to sell that well in the first place, like they're expecting, then this is not good for them, and they would pretty much be losing profit. So why would they want to do that? So yeah, those are pretty much the rumors about this digital-only Xbox One coming out in May. Do I think these rumors are legit, and do I think it's actually still coming out in May, 2 months right after this video, pretty much 2 months down the road? Yes, I do think that there's a very good chance that this new Xbox One may be coming 2 months down the road. It does seem likely, and like I said, we are heading towards a digital future, so I get why Microsoft would want to test the waters. They want to see how many people would attach to this new system and things like that. But it's just very weird that they want to do it right now, and rather than wait in the near future and like their next Xbox generation or their next Xbox that they're making. I think, like I said before, this is just too late in the Xbox One's lifespan to be testing out the waters and doing something like this when so many people already have an Xbox One and already have like a PS4 or a Nintendo Switch. So what's really the appeal of a discless Xbox One? Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from MyTech News, signing out.